Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany tasting, well, rare and exotic whiskeys. This is not the rarest and this is not the most exotic of whiskeys, but the question is it still a real whiskey? Basil Hayden, Caribbean Rum, 40%. This was actually released in June 2019. Now, I have had the 2x2, I've had the dark rye, and I have not yet had the 10-year-old from Basil Hayden. I want to do that one day. But I had the opportunity to buy this bottle over here in Germany. Now, I paid 100 euros for this, well, 98.90. That's 120 bucks for this. Now, there are 25% import tariffs on this, which is a lot, but it's, I don't know how it made it over here. I bought it at whiskey.de, Horst, if you remember him with his slurshing moments. And yeah, I did it, and I did not originally want to. I saw it online, I was like, no, I'm not going to buy that. And then all of my Patreons came, a lot of them said, Jason, could you buy the bottle and share it with us? I said, it's too expensive. They said, please. I was okay, good. So I bought the bottle, I shared it, and this is my video to this. So, first of all, this is a blend. This is a blend of 8-year-old rye from Kentucky, yay, with 4-year-old Canadian rye. Oh, what's it then? It's not American bourbon. Well, maybe America with North America. But then what they do is they actually add black syrup rum. So if I read the label correctly, it says here, Kentucky straight rye whiskey, no age, blended with Canadian rye whiskey, and finished with rum, not in a rum cask, with. Now, Jim Beam, okay, well, first of all, yay, Jim Beam. You're pushing the envelope, you're expanding the possibilities of what's possible in the whiskey world. Yay. I like that. On the other hand, I don't like it. If this is what rye should be in this circle, you're out here, you're an outlier, and I don't like outliers really deep in my heart. I want my rye to taste like rye. Now, over here in Germany at the moment, we actually have companies, German distilleries, that are trying to make rye. And I think I know what rye should taste like. I've tasted 50 plus different ryes from the States and Canada. And then I try a rye from Scotland, different. I try a rye from Ireland, different. I try a rye from Germany, sometimes very different. And they don't taste like a rye from the States. Now, there's many reasons, of course, why the rye does not taste the same. Are they using enzymes or not? Are they using fresh barrels or not? Are they putting stuff in it or not? And all these different things. What type of yeast are they using? What type of process are they using? What type of rye are they using? All many different variables, of course, warehousing and so on. It's amazing how many different variables are actually possible in making a whiskey and changing that flavor profile from the same basic grain at the very beginning to the whiskey at the end, which is totally different. And so Jim Beam decided, hey, let's experiment. Let's do this. Now, I'm not really sure why they still use the Basil Hayden, especially since it's a rye. It has nothing to do with the normal Basil Hayden here. So this is what the normal Basil Hayden looks like. This was part of their small batch series back then. We had this, the Knob Creek, we had the Booker's, and we had I forget the number 3. Oh, wow. Am I a bad person or not? Whatever that fourth one was. Wow. Blank. I'm sure many of you will write it down in the comments, or I'll remember it in a moment. This is 40%. This is a high rye, which means maybe 20, maybe 30% rye. Normal for roses, but hey, this is high rye. And yeah, so I actually had the 2018 rye release where they used the rye the first time, so who knows. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare it to, now this is an empty bottle, I'm sorry, I stole it from my wife. She uses the decorations. And this is the bourbon bottle, not the rye bottle, I know. But I wanted to have actually a bottle on here so you can see here, Angel's Envy. I do have a sample. I did share the bottle recently. I bought it at an auction. I paid 120 euros basically for a bottle of Angel's Envy rye. We have not seen hardly any bottles whatsoever of the rye make it over here to Europe. We've had some bourbon. We've had some people actually share and offer bourbon and so on, but rye has been very, very scarce for the last 5 years or more. And so when I bought the bottle online at the auction, everyone wanted a little bit of a sample. I had to actually limit the sample size, so not, someone took half the bottle and everyone else just went out empty or got off empty. And so I have the Angel Envy rye casks over here, and I have the Basil Hayden Caribbean casks. So this is here Angel's Envy Caribbean rum cask finished, 50%. Now, I actually heard, now correct me if I'm wrong, that when Angel Envy first bought their batches of rum barrels, they were in such bad shape. What is a rum barrel? It's just a used bourbon barrel. So it's a bourbon barrel used as rum barrel going back to Kentucky and being used again for their products. And so they actually rejuvenated the casks. Maybe a new toasting, maybe a new char, maybe scraped out of some of that old stuff in there. And I was told, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. If I'm right, well, that's the way things are. I was told that in many of the cases, Angel Envy actually had put rum back into the barrels to rejuvenate the barrels. Has to be a rum barrel, right? And basically, we sometimes, as in Scotland, forget to take out that rum. So I don't know about you, but I've seen some deviations in that batches of the rye from Angel's Envy. Some of it was so so much rum that it was almost unbearable, and others had less. And I think it has a lot to do with that. If they were used the first, second, third, or fourth time before they rejuvenated those casks again. All right, if my intel is correct, thank you very much. If it's wrong, please give me a heads up so I don't continue to believe that story that I heard from more than one person. So who knows, who knows. All right, over here. Now, I would say basically, would you like some whiskey with your rum? This is for me on the nose, 80% rum and 20% whiskey. This, on the other hand, oh, this is 80% whiskey with 20% rum. There is still a lot of rum going on here, and it's very, very important that we remember rum is not rum. So everyone, hey, Bacardi, yes, but Bacardi is not the only rum out there. There's so many different types of rums, and you can have very light rums, and you can have dark rums. And what I'm getting here is a very light rum. There's a lot more of a vanilla moment here. There's a little bit of an herbal type of moment, and it's a much sweeter. Over here, I have molasses. I have a very deep, dark syrup, almost like burnt butterscotch. It's much, much darker, as it was black syrup rum. It sounds like it's deep and dark and rich. And that's what I'm getting over here. And the two are not, both of these are not my favorite things in the world. All right. So I was really, really struggling for about 2 minutes. Am I going to do a video in English or not? It's not rare, it's not exotic, but yes, it is a little bit, so I decided to do it anyways. All right, hope you like it still. Okay, the 8-year-old blended with a 4-year-old, put in a little bit of rum, and you get the Basil Hayden Caribbean Rye. Cheers. Wow, that's really not my cup of tea. It's very dark. It's molasses in a glass with alcohol. It's sweet, but it's not ice. It's not icing type of sweet. It's not powdered sugar sweet. It's dark, rich molasses, dark caramel, butterscotch. It's a little bit like a grapes grape cough syrup concentrated. Um, I get a little bit of grape towards the end as well. Now I don't get much of a rye. That's something I'm missing here a lot. It's not really the most evident of the whiskeys out there for my palate. Um, it's just the nose is much better than the palate, in my personal opinion. On the nose, I'd give this like a C plus, and on the palate, I give like a C minus. Now, remember, I mentioned the little circle, and in that circle is what I like about rye. So you have the Jim Beam rye over here, you have the Lot 40 rye over here, you have the Whistle Pig rye over here, you have, I don't know, Michter's rye over here, and you have different places. This is left field. This is way out there. Right field, but that's okay. but this is not something I really would enjoy sipping on a hot summer day. It's not something I'd enjoy in front of the fireplace and sipping. This is something I'm trying because, hey, I want to have a video, but not something I'm going to actually go, ooh, I need to buy that bottle again. That's good stuff. And by the way, with the dark rye and the 2x2, both are exactly the same experiences. Nothing from that new range of Basil Hayden's actually connected with me in any way. All right, good. Enough complaining. Angel's Envy, the rye in a Caribbean rum cask, matured or finished. This is 50%. Now, this is a rye whiskey. I definitely have that, and there's a lot of icing on here, a lot of sugar icing, and maybe even a little bit of honey, a very, very honey bear moment. Mm. At least I get my rye. I got the rye. Yay. The rye is with an ice, vanilla icing on top, and a little bit of the honey from the honey bear on top of that. It's very, very. I have a sweet tooth, I admit, but this is almost too much sweetness for me. Um, Wow, at least there's some. You have a base of the whiskey, and there's rye. There's the rum added on top of the rye whiskey. Over here, I have the feeling I have a basis more of a rum, and you put a little bit of whiskey on top of that. All right, very, very interesting. Which one do I prefer? I do prefer the Angel's Envy, and yet none of these I'm going to actually go out and buy a bottle again. I prefer the Angel's Envy bourbon and the port casks much better. But hey, that's my own personal opinion. All right, and the cast strength yearly expressions, mwah, those are some of the best stuff I've had, maybe ever. All right, good. Over here, I'm gonna give this actually a D plus. Not whiskey I want, and for the value for money for the €100 that I paid for it, the $120, this is actually a fail. Why was it even made? I don't know. All right, yes, tariffs, yes, maybe 20 middlemen between me and the Jim Beam Distillery. Oh, by the way, nowhere does it say Jim Beam. It says produced and bottled by Kentucky Springs Distilling Company. Who the heck is Kentucky Springs Distilling? It's a Jim Beam product. Tell me, it says Claremont on it. Hey, the only distilling company we have in Claremont is Jim Beam. So why did they have to go out and use one of their fake distillery names? Frankfort, Kentucky, Claremont. All right, good. Inspired by the pioneering spirit of Basil Hayden, bourbon, we finished this intriguing blend of, yeah, it says we finished. All right, this with a touch of rum balancing our signature rye spice with a subtle Caribbean sweetness. Subtle. And with a touch of, all right, with instead of in. WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany. My question of the day is, can you please name a rum finish that was actually done well on a whiskey? It can be a finish, it can be, of course, a full maturation. Can you name a product? Could be Irish, could be bourbon, could be American, could be Scottish, could be Australian, could be any place in the world, could be German. What whiskey could you recommend and say, hey, that was a great rum finish? Be very interested to see what you have. All the best. WhiskyJason here. See you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.